flooding and drought. Rainstorms destined for areas like Australia and Indonesia are carried out to the Central Pacific, leaving these regions dry. Across the Pacific, areas stretching from South to North America can be soaked with torrential rainfalls. Conversely, subsiding El Niños can be followed by another phenomenon called La Niña, where cold water builds up and creates climatic effects opposite of El Niño. Weather systems created by El Niño can have wide-reaching impact. The El Niño event of 1997 to 98 wreaked havoc across the coastal United States. In the Northern California town of Rio Nido, heavy rains caused mudslides that claimed houses. Some residents had only a few minutes warning before the slides hit. The incessant pounding rains caused hundreds of millions of dollars in damage, leaving over 100,000 Californians homeless. All told, some 35 counties were declared federal disaster areas. But the destruction extended into the wildlife populations as well. The warm waters of El Niño sent fish to nutrient-rich, colder, deeper waters, disrupting the food chain. Without fish, wildlife like these cormorants died of starvation. Marine mammals like these seals also found themselves in dire straits. For scientists, predicting the next occurrence of El Niño is a difficult task given its complex nature and long intervals of 2 to 7 years. But through the use of climate modeling, statistics, and monitoring the oceans, the event of future storms is becoming clearer. It is unlikely that the world will ever be completely caught off guard again by the destructive forces of El Niño.
आता monsoons, climate, weather, that is a natural phenomena. But आम्ही humans आसा, we are interfering with the planet in a lot of ways. Global warming, मागीर ozone depletion, sea level rise, हे सगळे आम्ही करतात. So just my question is, whether our trouble, what mischief we are doing, pollution, can it affect monsoons? What do you say?
Sadesh, it's a very good question. For example, global warming plays a very, very important role.
Okay.
For example, if you look at the Indian Ocean, the Arabian Sea has warmed, the Bay of Bengal has warmed, but if you look at the Eastern Equatorial Indian Ocean, that has warmed substantially by almost 1 degree Celsius in the peak monsoon months of July and August for the period 1951 to 2000.
That is because of our problem. We have created.
I wouldn't say we have created. It's actually a combined mixture of actually both natural and anthropogenic
About the warming also, global warming also.
Global warming also. So it has actually a combined effect. So there is a spatial distribution. But if you look at this area, for example, equator to 10 degrees south and 70 to 90 degrees east, this is actually the temporal distribution from 1951 to 2008. You can see there is a substantial increase by almost 1 degree Celsius.
The warmth is increasing.
Warmth is increasing. This has actually tremendous repercussions. This I will tell in this. For example, if you look at last week, we have strong rainfall over the Indian subcontinent. This was basically because of strong convective systems which formed over the Bay of Bengal. When some convective systems form in the Bay of Bengal, it sucks moisture into the peninsular India and you get a lot of rainfall over Karnataka, Kerala.
On the western coast.
Mostly in the central and peninsular India, including Bombay. If you remember last week, there were a lot of areas. Flooding was there, aircraft couldn't land. Bombay was standstill, the schools were closed, etc.
So it is because of this effect.
Basically, we call it active monsoon conditions.
Active monsoon conditions.
Okay, because every day it does not rain the same way. But another situation is actually when this convection shifts from Bay of Bengal into the eastern equatorial Indian Ocean region, then the monsoon current. When I say monsoon current, it's actually the atmospheric moisture of monsoon current. It avoids the Indian subcontinent and you get lots and lots of rainfall over the equatorial region. You get lots of rainfall over the equatorial region, but you don't get rainfall over the peninsular India where we need it. So such a situation is what we call a break monsoon condition. The break monsoon condition, entire Indian subcontinent paus khai pana, except Tamil Nadu, state of Tamil Nadu and the foothills of Himalayas. So such a condition is what we call a break monsoon condition. So this is actually very similar. It's the same region which is actually getting warmed up. So we have actually chance of more and more break monsoon conditions. So basically, I will say this is a typical condition. We call it a monsoon Hadley circulation. We have actually some convection over around 20 degrees north and something happens over subsidence over 30 degrees south. But because of this secondary warming in the equator, which I showed it to you, so the entire thing gets shifted.
This is the equator.
The same region where I showed it to you. where we get actually there is a convection.
Yes.
So this upsets the monsoon Hadley cell, and we get actually lesser monsoon current in the Indian subcontinent. All these things gets affected.
Okay. Doctor, तुम्ही परत mention केले about IMD.
Okay.
Okay. I think it is India Meteorological Department.
Very true.
This is a very crucial site for us.
Yeah, very true.
आणि आमचे दर्शकही खूपशे असतले ज्यांका उत्सुकता असतली who would like to know about the Indian monsoon, and I think you can study, we ourselves laymen can read about Indian monsoon on this site.
Yeah.
Can you tell us something about IMD?
That's a very excellent question, Sadish. Let me put it that way. The India Meteorological Department has put actually several information. One is on monsoons, it can be on cyclones, it can be on fog, it can be on temperature,
All weather.
all weather.
Okay.
And they have actually various meteorological, state meteorological, for example, Goyanth.
Okay.
Goyanth at www.imdgoa.gov.in दिले खूब information तुमको मिळतले.
Okay.
पाऊस काल कितले पाऊस पडलेलो, काल कितले temperature आसिल्ले, and how
About
was the
Goa
monsoon.
also you can get.
Yeah, Goa also. The State Department of Goa has actually some information which they put.
Okay.
Okay. So they get actually the rainfall starting from 1st of June up to yesterday.
Okay.
And it actually not only that, two places. One is actually of Panjim as well as Momogoa port.
Okay.
Information is actually put in the daily weather report.
Okay.
Plus Goa has about 10 let's say substations where they have actually automatic rain gauges where we get the rainfall.
Where rainfall study is done.
Done.
Okay.
On a daily basis,
Okay.
and that is reported.
Yeah. Another thing, doctor, तुमका विचारपा जाय आशिल्ले.
Yeah.
In the monsoon period, sometimes we have to plan a journey.
Yeah.
So forecast मेटा IMD चे.
Yeah.
Do we get a forecast also?
IMD also does a forecast. In fact, that is done at a national level, not at a regional level. Because Goa is a very small state, maybe lesser than some of the districts of some of the major states.
Okay.
But people do give.
Okay.
For example, IMD, for example, started giving actually forecast for the people who are traveling. For example, if you want to go to Kulu or Manali or maybe Delhi or whatever, or maybe any tour or vacation,
You can understand the weather there.
weather you can go prepared, so that whether you want a hot weather clothing or maybe cold weather clothing or maybe rainfall or whatever, people can go prepared.
So this will be a very important
Yeah,
site.
in fact, IMD's website has actually can rank it, because not only that, it provides a lot of data sets also.
Okay.
For example, cyclone, for example, IMD has actually recently started a regional meteorological cyclone, this one, which is centered in New Delhi, and it gives features. And I would say, I can proudly say, India is one of the few countries where the satellite as well as the meteorology, for example, if you have the data, way back to almost 125 to maybe 150 years of rainfall data is available.
It is available.
In fact, Goa incidentally has actually data from the Portuguese period also.
Okay.
In fact, I did some studies during the Portuguese period now and whatever about the Goa.
Okay.
So we had data, fortunately, from the Portuguese period onwards. People have been measuring temperature, rainfall, and such things, etc.
Okay. Doctor, when you said about data,
Yeah.
one question struck my mind.
Yeah.
आताच स्कूल आमची सुरू जाल्या.
Yeah.
Education institutions, schools, colleges, universities, all have started.
Yeah.
And our students are in the lookout for projects.
Yeah.
So can they do some projects related to monsoons or anything in NIO, in oceanography? Can you help them in any way?
Yeah, I would say that, in fact, NAO welcomes with both hands. But we don't take it at a smaller or school level. We take it at undergraduate level as well as postgraduate level.
Okay.
In fact, lot of students have done, whether it's from Dembe College or Xavier's College or maybe MUPSA or whatever. People do come. And incidentally, what you said is we have some other world-class facilities, whether in the instrumentation.
They can take up projects.
They can take up, whether it's in chemistry or biology or physics or maybe geology. People have come and worked with NIO for their undergraduate dissertations or maybe postgraduate dissertations or even for PhDs. In fact, NIO, in collaboration maybe with Goa University, has actually guided several students for their dissertation as well as for PhD. In addition to that, we recently have started a thing called Academy of Innovation and Scientific Research. We call it ACSIR.
ACSIR.
Academy of Scientific and Innovative Research, whereby CSIR is awarding their own degrees for the students. And every year we take students from all over the India, ask them to appear for an interview, and if they are selected, they are coached or trained and given various courses like say Introduction to Oceanography, various subjects are taught. There are taught courses, in addition they are allowed to do their PhD, where PhD will be awarded by CSIR itself.
Anyone in meteorology, can they do something like
climate? People in meteorology can do, geography can do, biology, physics, mathematics, botany. There is no hard and fast.
It is science.
It's basically a scientific degree where people come from different backgrounds. But our core competence or this one, we want to focus on oceanography.
Now, how does the student start, doctor? How does he approach NIO? What does he do?
That's a very good question. Basically, if any student who is interested about NIO, they can go to the website www.nio.org. There are variety of information available, including, we call it outreach activities as well as student summer internships.
Okay.
Another good question which you asked is actually during the months, this period of May, June, July, any student from anywhere in India can approach and can work on a small summer internship, whether it's from the GEC or NIT or PCC or maybe RIT, engineering student or any science student can come and work for a couple of months, whereby they can learn a little bit about oceanography or meteorology or geology or biogeochemistry or whatever.
Different fields of science.
Related with oceanography and can work and get a feel for it. But if they have a longer period, about 4 months or 6 months or 1 year, they can do a dissertation for a longer period with some of the best scientists in the country.
ओके दॅट इज रियली गुड. आज आमी सुरवात केल्ली मनसून्स हे डिस्कस करपाक आणि ते डिस्कस करपाक गोंयान आमचे सगळ्यात नॉलेजेबल फॅकल्टी ऑन दिस टॉपिक डॉक्टर रमेश कुमार, चीफ सायंटिस्ट NIO, हांकां हांवें आमंत्रीत केल्ले. पण आमचो भासाभास बरोच इंटरेस्टिंग जालो. बाय द एंड ऑफ द प्रोग्राम दोतोरान आमकां इवन स्टुडंट्स जे आमचे प्रोग्राम पळयतात, हायर सेकंडरी स्टुडंट्स, कॉलेज आणि मागीर पोस्ट ग्रॅज्युएट लेवलाचे डिफरंट प्रोजेक्ट्स जे सायन्सान करूंक शकता, डिफरंट लेवल्स ऑफ रिसर्च इन डिफरंट फिल्ड्स ऑफ सायन्स, हे सगळें दोतोरान सांगलें. म्हाका दिसता हे प्रोग्रामाचो तुमी खरो फायदो घेवचो. आणि NIO ज्याचे दारां सगळ्यां उगडीं आसतात स्टुडंट्सांक, इट इज नॉट जस्ट अ रिसर्च इन्स्टिट्यूशन वेर ओशनाचेर रिसर्च जाता. NIO इज एन इन्स्टिट्यूशन वेर स्टुडंट्स इन गोवा अँड ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड कॅन अप्रोच अँड हॅव अ बेटर career and better life in science. Am I correct, doctor?
That's very true, very true.
Yes. So doctor, I thank you very much for being a part of this program. You have given us valuable information on your topic, the Indian monsoons. So God bless you and thank you so much. आणि दोतोरांक हांव गुड बाय म्हणचे पयलीं तुमकां याद करता की हांगा सकल आमची ईमेल ID आसा. तुमचो कितें भासाभास आमकां करपाचो आसा, आमचो कितें फीडबॅक दिवपाचो आसा, तुमी ह्या ईमेल IDचेर दिवपाक शकतात. प्लस डॉक्टर रमेश कुमारा कडेन कितें तुमचो मॅसेज आसा, कितें तरी तुमकां क्वेश्चन आसा, तुमी हांगाच ईमेल करात. हांव दोतोरा कडेन पावयतां आनी तुमची जापो तुमकां आन्सर्स दिवपाक दोतोराक हांव रिक्वेस्ट करतां. आज हांगाच काबार करुया. पळयत रावात अंतरिक्ष, अप अँड अवे, ओनली ऑन प्रुडंट.